Hey, it's Todd Ault. It is June 3rd. We are in Detroit at the Belle Isle Grand Prix. It's the last race of the year. Connor Daly and Rinus VeeKay. Connor Daly, the BitNile car, Rinus VeeKay, and the Bitcoin Racing Team car, sponsored by BitNile. It never ceases to amaze me, the stupidity that government brings to the table. We'll be talking about the Bitcoin regulation in New York, and if that governor signs that bill, how much they continue to set back technology. It's beyond amazing to me how they can single out an industry. You guys have got to see the video from Perry and Boring, who talks about what's happening in the Bitcoin mining industry. It's our first really day back since the interview with Mullen, CEO, in which we did not talk about the Indy 500. Wow, did Connor Daly do great, finishing 6th in a race, his best finish ever. Rinus VeeKay unfortunately hit the wall in kind of a fluke situation, but Ed Carpenter, I think, finished 18th after being penalized for stalling in the box when on a red flag. But it was an amazing race. We had a huge amount of our vendors there, employees and people there, and it was really earth-shattering how wonderful of an event it was. Those of you who have not experienced 400,000 people in one location, you're missing out. Hey, it is June 3rd, 2022. It is the 228th episode of Risk On. I'm here with Skyla, and you probably wonder where everyone is. Well, I cannot talk about individually, and I'm not suggesting that Jason has COVID. I can say, wow, COVID is back in affecting a lot of people in a big way. Fortunately, I think that they're just feeling sick. It's not life-threatening, we hope, but not a good time right now for COVID and what's happening with us. I guess the more you travel, the likelihood is you're going to get it. It seems like an endemic now versus a pandemic, in which it's here to stay, more like the flu, but probably a little bit more serious than that. We're going to get right to the market update real quickly here. We don't have a large crowd today, but I do want to talk about what's happening on the, sorry about that. I unfortunately using a phone, and people forget that we have a show during this time of day. But let's talk about the markets real quick. You had a pretty big sell-off today. The Dow down 348, the NASDAQ down 304, the S&P down 68. We happen to run a company called BitNile Holdings, which has lots of different businesses. And those of you, by the way, who want to learn about that, check out today's press release. I'll be speaking at the LD Micro Conference on June 8th at 9 a.m. And I believe if you look at that press release this morning, you can see what time I'll be speaking, and you can actually watch it virtually. But the crypto stocks getting hit. Mara down to 880 and 622 for Riot. Obviously, BitNile Holdings owns a crypto mining business. It owns a data center. It owns a DeFi business, 19.9% of earnings. But it also owns a lender, 100% of the lender. It also owns other businesses in defense and EV and other applications. So we are pretty well diversified on purpose. But let's not kid around that this potential ban of crypto in New York is not a good thing. And I want to talk about that a little bit. If it passes, it would make New York the first state which the country banned blockchain technology infrastructure. It really sends a message that the U.S., which has become the dominant player in this space, would no longer be the most friendly environment. At least New York would not be. I am, for one, really tired of what the rhetoric is about Bitcoin, and really the consumption of power and this sort of carbon footprint thing is, to me, utter nonsense. But New York wants to, people are moving out of that state for a reason, and they want to continue to stub their foot all the time and make things bad. So I'm not a big fan of what's happening there. Obviously, on Wednesday, we did an interview with CEO Mullen. I don't understand what was so negative about the interview that sent the stock down, what was, 15, 20 cents a share, a big percentage, 15% sell-off or so. Don't quite understand it. That kind of plays more into my thought process here that maybe we're better off just to not talk about any stocks. The Risk On Show does not seem to promote the idea of transparency and conversation. It promotes lunacy and people saying crazy shit, which is what I watched on the, I've almost got to a point where I don't even read the comments anymore because people are insane and what they say and not factual. But I did enjoy the interview. It is interesting to see Mullen move forward with battery technology. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen there. For full disclosure, we own stock in the company. We bought it when it was a private company. We have substantial holdings in there relative to us. And so, we are long, and you should consider that. Consider us biased. You should definitely consult your financial professional. We are not suggesting you buy or sell Mullen. But we are suggesting that we close on the preferred today. And Niles, the first opportunity Niles had to have a listed preferred, to list on the stock exchange under its own symbol. It's NILE, and then it'll be a P for preferred. And you can see that in our press release from this morning. That is non-dilutive capital. And while the rate of return is a little high, given what we're doing in Bitcoin, it does bring our borrowing costs substantially lower and allow us to have equity that is perpetual. So we're pretty happy about that preferred, and thanks to Alexander and all the people who participated in that transaction. And that, while it was a small preferred, is now listed and allows us to do other things with that preferred. So we're very pleased with what we've done there, very pleased with the balance sheet, et cetera. I do want to go on to the markets again. I still think we're in a bear market. I still think that until we kind of know where the Fed's going, we're going to linger around. You saw Microsoft recover yesterday, but it's really a dollar-denominated issue. And I continue to be really bullish on Bitcoin, and I'll tell you why. And that is, as you look at the landscape, you play things out in terms of what's going to happen with Bitcoin. You can continue to see pretty inflationary times. Now, Bitcoin needs to hold that 30,000 level, in my opinion. There's talk that it could go lower. I don't know that it's really going to matter. If you look at the long-term curve on Bitcoin, it's been up and to the right. And if you look at it on a linear basis, I think you got to be long, and that's what I'm doing. And for full disclosure, I'm long it in my personal account, and we mine it at Nile. But I did want to get to some questions, and I think we're going to have the King on as a special guest. I hope he's going to come join us. So let me see if I can get to the comments. I never know how to do this when I'm on a phone and I want to see the comments here. So just give me a second here so I can see the comments here and see if we have any questions here. So let's go. Let's see here. Am I doing this correctly? Skyla, can you see me okay? Do we look good? Let's see here. Any questions? Niall needs to sell 1 Bitcoin a week and buy back stock with it. Good idea. Mr. Ault has clearly stated he's holding all the way in mind, leveraging them on loans. Niall has a 50 million share buyback, $50 million buyback, by the way, in place over the next 3 years. There's $50 million of stock that can be bought. Skylar, are you talking?
Hey, so the King just got in here. I was going to bring him into you, but I figured maybe it'd be better if he sat in my spot.
I think that would be better, too. Looks like Class D offering closed. We now could just do another ATM for the common, see closer. I don't understand what that question is. Boilermaker, I'm trying to answer your question here, buddy. Close the ATM, okay? Interesting. Quiet period is over, yeah. Any updates on the Jersey book you gave away? If you didn't get your Jersey or book, we're going to have to solve that problem. Not your fault, Todd. The Mullen CEO was low energy, okay? People expect you to commit security. People expect you to commit securities fraud by divulging material information because they are morons. Okay, I didn't say that. That was a statement on this. Bring the King on. Yes, Stephen. Bitcoin is going nowhere. Logan James is not going anywhere. I mean, going away. Okay, Logan, I think you're being Bitcoin is not going away. I will make sure if you didn't get your jerseys that you get your jerseys. One thing for sure is we never want to do something. We want to keep our word. And I know that you guys think I don't keep my word, but I can assure you I keep my word on everything I say I'm going to do long term. May not get there first, but we get there. Hey, King, are you getting any sleep, my man?
Hi.
No.
What?
You haven't gotten any sleep.
I have not slept. I don't know which Todd to listen to.
Just listen. Don't listen to the Todd up there. Listen to the Todd on the screen.
Again, it's after you speak.
Is that weirding you out?
It's a lot of Todd. No, I have not slept, but I'm happy to be here. Man, last week was wild.
Hey, tell us about your experience at the Indy 500. I know you got to experience the whole thing, and I just would love people to hear it from a point of view of someone that was not a race fan.
Well, I got the bug now. Thanks, by the way. The last weekend, well, I had been to Long Beach. I went on the Sunday, so I'd only experienced the race day, but seeing the not the qualifiers, but seeing the practices and walking around. And I mean, there was a massive amount of people at Bit-Nile last weekend. I mean, we came out repping strong. And it was, I never thought I'd like racing at all. Truly. Not dislike, just had no interest. But it's cool. And it's not just driving cars around for shits and giggles for 2 hours. Like just when Renus had the thing that went down in the 35th lap, and they said it was just because it was off a millimeter, the tail. Like the intricacies and nuances of the sport are crazy. Absolutely wild.
I wonder, Steve, if you could see, as you see what I'm doing there and the people I'm talking to, different heads of different companies and stuff like that. Can you understand the network effect of what's happening there?
Oh, it's not. It just so happens that you like cars and racing. It has nothing to do with that. The rooms that you've set yourself up in it's absolutely wild. People and connections that anybody who sponsors a team are making in these rooms. It's opportunities that in no other capacity, in no other setting would they present themselves. It's absolutely.
I'll give you one example, and that is if you were in St. Petersburg, you would have seen that I met a group of people that ultimately now are distributors in 3 states for our EV units. And this is really a powerful platform. Indy Racing League, Roger Penske, and all the people involved with the organization are just nothing but wonderful to us and making and opening doors that are possible. Now, obviously, we're a sponsor, and they want to keep sponsorship going. But I couldn't tell you more about how amazing it was. What's even more amazing is how many people there were and how many people knew me and wanted to take pictures. That part was weird because I didn't know these people, but they knew me because we sponsored Connor. But I wondered, King, when you looked at the number of people that were on the paddock and the people in the stands, did you get a chance to see the mile and some change of how many people were there in the stands and how overwhelming it is?
What was the last part of that?
Did you get
overwhelming? Oh my!
How,
I have never been in a place, and I went to Michigan, and the Big House is the biggest football stadium in the country, but this was mammoth. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you could not see more than a 1/15 of the track at once, and all it was just people as far as you could see. In the flyover, you could hear the people over the planes, and there were like 12 of them. It was insane.
Yeah, I will tell you, one of the things I was super proud of was Connor Daly and how well he did starting from 18th. And I got to see Logan James again. I met him in St. Petersburg. I got to see him at the Indy 500. He was in our hospitality suite. And what's great is you can see people, how supportive they are of what's taking place here. But Stephen, I want to transition to the market. I know you trade a lot. You're one of those Army guys out there doing things in crazy stocks. I wondered, what's your thoughts on the marketplace right now?
Yeah, it's still a bath. They're like, I keep loading up on Costco and well, not loading up because it's $4.50 a share. But Costco and Apple and the big ones that are on massive discount. I mean, the big liquidity days are over. There was just an article, I forget who it was, I think it was Barron's, that said, the stock market lottery has ended, or the stock market casino has ended. I mean,
what's funny is I don't know that it's over as much as that the liquidity and sort of free checks that were out there and all the liquidity that were being added to the platform are over for now. If you watch this show, will say to you, keep in mind that these higher rates cost the government more to borrow, and it costs a lot more to service that debt. And I think there's a ceiling on what they can do here. But I got to tell you, what's scary is the amount of inflation that's out there, and what the cost levels are so much more. I went and got gas in Indiana, and I paid $5.62 a gallon. I mean, I
didn't hear that last part. That car was really loud.
I went and got gas, and I paid $5.62 a gallon.
Oh, gas? I mean, well, you know, the thing about California, especially LA, is gas is expensive, like the most expensive of anywhere. But you
I was in Indiana. But I was in Indiana, Steve.
Oh, I missed that part. These cars are loud. It's insane. It's absolutely, you know, BMR lives up in Traders, lives in Maine, and I think they're at like $4.50 a gallon, and that's already nearly double. You know, it's you know, it all gets down to the kitchen table, and you can't pay your bills.
Hey guys, listen, if you feel like you have not got something you were entitled to, just email Randy at Ault Alliance.
Yes.
Why are you laughing?
So wait, I have to share this with you. So I'm gonna get in trouble. So Randy texted me at 6:15 last night. He's gonna kill me. He says, just landed in D-Town, see you tomorrow. I said, Delta, I heard you flew home to do your laundry. He said, Spirit, and yep. And I said, yuck, Spirit's the armpit of airlines. Todd can afford Delta for you, LOL. He goes, I know, 70 mother effing dollars to check my bag. I said, per Todd, we'll reimburse you for that. Just email Randy at altalliance.com.
Hey, so just like I said, if you need something and you're not getting it and you feel like you're entitled to it, make sure you email Randy at Ault Alliance so he can make sure you get your books if you're in the conference, or if you get your jerseys, if you did it within the time frame. Obviously, we never want to hurt anybody with that. But going back to the market, seriously, Steve, do you feel like, or the king, I should call you the king. Do you feel like the market is reset enough? You talk to a lot of people online. I see you. What's the psychology like out there with the individual investor?
I mean, I'm not an expert, and obviously, but I feel like there's a temporary bottom in. I mean, I don't know how long it'll last. I think we got maybe a bit of a rally before we have but the inevitable is upon us. And I think that isn't right about now the time that they reconstitute the Russell and all that stuff. So it's mid and small cap time, late May and June. And then after that, like it did last year, once that happens, everything, the bottom falls out.
I'm experiencing something weird, and that is commenting on Nile a little bit. You obviously see a depressed stock price, but business is just so much better in terms of defense, how we're doing with EV, the progress the lender is doing great, as we reported the last quarter. I referred to the last quarter. I don't quite get the reason why the market is so short term. I know that there's an old adage, short term, the market is a voting machine. Long term, it's a weighing machine. And if they weigh something like me, then obviously we should be in great shape years from now. But I don't quite get, this is a weird market for me. I don't understand some of the dynamics in terms of they're pounding the hell out of people like Riot. I mean, this thing is just getting annihilated. And I guess that's mainly because of the psychological effect of Bitcoin. But we put ourselves in a position when we paid off our debt to be there. So I'm pretty pleased with where we are. But Steve, do you have a favorite, the king, do you have a favorite position right now you like? If you're looking at one stock, I know we don't make a recommendation, but do you like one? And do not recommend Nile, please. Do not say that.
I wasn't going to say it by name.
Well, we can't, listen.
Honestly, I keep saying Costco.
Costco. So your cutting edge idea for the public out there is Costco.
It is the leanest run retailer in the country. Even Jason, who doesn't like boring ideas, is Costco, Costco, Costco.
Right.
It's insane. And I've just been, it seems like now's the time where you put money into these heavily discounted biggies that will go up and that you can count on still being there long term. I mean, I won't talk about Nile, obviously, but if you had put money in 3M or Apple 5 days ago, you're up 15%, and these are at lows of like the first time since 2020. I mean, it's like we bought Apple, at least, you know, in 2008-9, the Greek financial crisis, and doubled down during the pandemic in March of the pandemic. And every time it's at that low, it goes up even higher than where it was before it hit that low. It's just, you know, and I got that with a film degree.
Hey, check out some of my social media, Todd Ault on Instagram, Todd Ault the Third on Twitter. We got some amazing content from the team, Khalik and all the people that are involved. Chrissy, my producer, Willie, everyone's producing just amazing content. I had such a great time at the award ceremony. Special thanks to Amos for joining out there, Marcus from Turn On Green, Cliff, all the people involved in the company being there, Randy, Joe. Sorry that a lot of people got sick. Unfortunately, COVID perks its head whenever it wants to. Guys, this is the 228th episode of Risk On. We got some podcasts that are coming up soon, so check those out. A lot of podcasts popping up. We're going to be actually coming out with the individual speeches that took place at the Risk On conference. We're going to play them in their entirety. So I encourage you guys to check out Alex Rodriguez, Dean, John, and all the things that are happening there. Hey, King, thanks for being here. We're going to have a great weekend in Detroit as you and I continue to network. People don't know this about yourself, but obviously you are connected in the Michigan area because of your business connections. One of the reasons I'm here is to meet some people you're introducing me to. So, King, I appreciate you traveling out here. Red eye, I realize you're probably tired. We're going to have a great weekend as Connor Daly and Reese VK go for the Detroit Grand Prix. It'll be the last year it's in Belle Isle. It'll hit the streets of Detroit next year, but Belle Isle is beautiful, right on the water. Check it out on NBC this weekend and on Peacock, and I'll be tweeting out and putting stuff out on Instagram about the show. King, thank you so much for being here. Now, I want to go to a dad joke from Skyla. And when we were at the Indy 500 presentation, and we talked about dad jokes, one of the people came out with a great dad joke, one of my favorite. And what is the, Skyla, do you remember the one about the cleanest insect, the best smelling insect?
No.
It was, what is the best smelling insect?
Oh, can I say it?
Yes.
A deodorant.
That's right, a deodorant. There you go.
And then
Skyla.
The other one.
Skyla, before you go, though, I want you to tell us about your experience at the Indy 500, your first time there, the people there, and what you expected from it. Obviously, as my assistant, you were in a lot of meetings, but what did you think of what transpired?
So we took a trip to Indianapolis in January, and we got a tour from Doug Bowles, and we just kind of walked around. And I remember thinking, you know, it was so empty and quiet and cold, and I just couldn't even imagine that place full, you know. And then there comes race day, and it just completely exceeded my expectations. I thought it was so amazing, like the energy of the crowd. There was just so many people. You couldn't even move, like really, you couldn't go anywhere. We had to wait about 3 hours to even get our bus out. And we had so many people there supporting us. And I thought it, like, you know, it was almost like that moment where you kind of realize it's like, wow, what I'm doing for work is like a really big deal. And it's not like, we've been to a bunch of other races, but the Indy 500 was just completely like exceeded my expectations. I thought it was amazing because it was so much bigger than I could have ever imagined. Because I mean, before you got into racing, I didn't know anything really about racing. And each race, I definitely have the bug. And then the Indy 500, it was just like, wow, all these people here are this into it, and I'm into it. And it was just really cool to be a part of.
Yeah, so I do want to say special thanks to people on the accounting team, the people at our hotels, our defense business, people at our EV business, our lending business, our hedge fund, the people involved in Turn On Green. It was amazing. And the number of people there that brought other people, it was a great networking opportunity for the company to get together. Our CFO was there. It was a magical time. A lot of people joined. Gene Ho was there. A lot of people from our accounting team, Georgia was there. A lot of people traveled to see the event, and we're so grateful for all the employees. Obviously, you know, as we've grown from just a few employees to, I think we're approaching 300 now. And if EYP closes, we'll be closer to like, I think 800. Just the sheer numbers, I'm not able to see them all anymore. And I don't know everyone that works here at the different defense businesses, but I am grateful to meet everybody. And obviously, to all the employees out there, you're always invited to these events. But we're so grateful for the ones that came to the Indy 500. And Skyla, why don't you finish up a great joke for us?
Okay, so my dad joke of the day. So there are 3 guys on a boat, and they have 4 cigarettes, but nothing to light it with. What do?
I have no idea.
They throw 1 cigarette overboard, and the boat becomes a cigarette lighter.
Oh God, that is purely a dad. That is purely a dad joke. Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I liked it.
Hey, a couple people, you guys sent me stuff about now being bought by some institutions. I appreciate those informations. I do read my DMs. I do read my chats. I try to keep up the best I can. The sheer volume is pretty high. Follow me on Twitter. And if you follow me on Twitter and I know you, you can DM me or text me and I'll follow you back so we can communicate. I appreciate everybody. Special thanks to Brett and Nick who were in studio for being at the Indy 500. We were broadcasting. I know it was overwhelming. We learn a lot from these situations. We learn a lot from our sponsorship. And I'm just super grateful for the diversity of the company. It was evident at the Indy 500 how diverse we are, the number of employees, the breadth of our growth, how big we've become as a company. And I realize the stock doesn't reflect what our values are yet in terms of how big we want to be, but the people there reflect the values of the company and the future of the company. And I'm so thankful for that. As far as the market's concerned, and me kind of wrapping up about
We have Randy in here too. He just came in. If you want to.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Let's chat with Randy real quick. Let's put him on.
Yeah. Here, I'm blocking somebody real quick, and then I'll get off.
Hope it was noobs.
Okay, Randy, there you go.
Randy.
What's up, man?
Hey, before we get started with you, Randy, I did have an important announcement to make, and there's about 54 people watching, and I want to limit it to the number of people that are watching. Guys, we're going to have a big event in October at the opening of our new hotel, La Phuket Tribeca. I want you to stay tuned for that information. If you watch this show and you're on the East Coast, you don't have to come to Vegas this time. There's going to be an event at our new hotel, La Phuket. It's in October, and I want you to pay attention to this. And, of course, when you get invited to this event, you're probably going to have to email Randy at Alt Alliance. But before we get to that, Randy, you've never been to Detroit.
No, yeah. It's, you know, when I watch it on TV, it doesn't look that exciting and stuff. But it's cooler to be here. I've been around 2 or 3 parts of the track. I need to explore some more. But let me tell you, one of the coolest things I did today, Tori took me to the fountain, right? Did you go to the fountain?
I've not been there, no.
Yeah, to me, it's just like, it's a fountain. What's the big deal, right? But Tori knew the guy that operates the fountain. They took us underneath it. We went underground underneath it. We saw all how they run it and all the pipes and stuff. It was insane. It was like the Wizard of Oz.
Well, we lost a little bit of that, but you went underneath the fountain, it sounded like.
Uh-huh.
Can you repeat that part about being underneath the fountain again?
Yeah, we got to go underneath it where the guys that operate it run the whole thing. It's like the Wizard of Oz, man. It's like all the pipes and stuff. And then there was these cutouts in the cement. Tori goes, stick your head underneath there and go look underneath it. I didn't want to. It was scary, dude. Pretty crazy, but it's awesome. I mean, it was cooler than I thought. I mean, I thought it was just a fountain, but Tori was all into the history. She knew the history and all this stuff behind it. It was pretty fascinating. You need to check it out.
Randy, I thought maybe you could talk about your experience at the Indy 500. You and I've been there before together. You and I've been to F1 there before together. but never as a sponsor and never as Randy, who's part of the team. And I'm curious, Randy, I mean, you know, I'm out there networking and meeting people, and it's obviously for me a great event.
Sure.
The governor was there, Vice President Pence was there. I mean, it's crazy stuff that I'm doing here. But I wondered on your end, being down in the trenches, how overwhelming it was. I saw you. I know how overwhelming it was, but maybe you could share a little bit of that with the audience.
Oh, for sure, man. Listen, where do you start, right? Where do you start to unpack that trip? It was just so amazing. But I will tell you this, as soon as I walked on the grid in my fire suit, I wore it for the first time. I had tears in my eyes, dude. I honestly had tears in my eyes. I'm going to start crying probably right now thinking about it. But the most amazing part of it was I stayed with the mechanics. Unfortunately, they made you clear the grid. I wish you could have been there too, but I was literally feet away from the cars as they rolled off for the start. And I mean, I'll take that to my grave, dude. That was one of the most amazing moments of my life ever.
Hey, Chris Meyer, I see you there in the chat. If you are there, email Randy at Ault Alliance. I'm being serious here. If you're going to be at the Detroit race, email Randy and I'll get you into our hospitality suite here down at Trackside so we can all meet up and have a hot dog or a beer and talk about things. Chris says he's going to be there. That'd be wonder if you're going to be there, Chris. Anybody who's in the Detroit area that follows this show, sees this thing live, and is going to be at the Grand Prix, obviously email Randy at Ault Alliance, and he'll make sure you get in and come see us. We love to have fans that are here. We love people that are fans of the show, Risk On. Randy, I know it was overwhelming for you. Talk about the time that you were there with your father and you got to meet some of the original racers.
At Indy the first time?
Yeah, because as you and I know, we were at dinner one night and someone really famous was there. He had a little mask on because of COVID, but just talk about your original experience there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was 10 years old and I already was into it because we used to watch it on TV. It used to be on tape delay. It would come on late in the evening. So we'd always have to watch the delayed broadcast, but it was like, that was like Christmas for me, man, getting together with the family, watching the race. And I was blown away just watching on TV. So when I walked in there as a 10-year-old kid in 1974, and you see the sheer size of that place, and many people that you had as guests, they remarked the same thing. They were blown away that when they walked in there, how huge this place was. They had zero idea from watching on TV. So that's the first thing that struck me as a 10-year-old kid. It's like, wow, this place is massive. And I'm just looking around, just smiling the whole time. And my dad asked me at the beginning, he goes, who do you want? And I said, oh, I'm taking Johnny Rutherford. And he started way back in 25th because back then there was 2 qualifying weekends. And if you didn't qualify the first weekend, you had to start behind everybody else. So Johnny Rutherford had an engine issue the first weekend, had to qualify the second weekend and start 25th. I mean, a lot of people might have thought he didn't have a chance, but he had a McLaren, and I knew that McLaren was fast. My dad took Mario, and Mario blew up in the first 10 laps. And Johnny Rutherford ended up winning, as I called it, with my dad, and he ended up winning. So it was literally a dream come true. And then the very next week, my dad met him in Milwaukee because he used to race in Milwaukee. The very next week, he met him at the Holiday Inn, had him sign the Sports Illustrated that just came out with him on the cover, and presented it to me. And then it's just like, yeah. And to meet him at Dawson's that night when you were with me, qualifying weekend, how surreal, man. It just, right. Yeah, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
You know what was surreal for me, and I love all the old racers, but when I was trackside with Ezekiel Elliott from the Cowboys, I felt myself, that was weird, him wanting to be there and check out what we were doing. I found that to be really, really crazy, the number of people there that were big fans of the race, etc. Guys, listen, if you email Randy at Ault Alliance and let him know you didn't get your jersey or your book, I can promise you, you're getting it for free. You got to be patient. Randy's dealing with overwhelming requests, and they come in and we process them in the order they come in. And if you didn't do it during the time frame, Randy doesn't make an excuse. He just basically says you can't watch you have to be watching the live version. If you watch the non-live version, we know when you email us, guys. Come on, we're only going to honor what we said we're going to honor. We will honor it. It's free. You got to remember that. We're giving you something for free. Let Randy process it. And also, you got to remember, Randy has a day job. So why whip his ass, right? I mean, he's working all the time. Randy has the luxury of traveling with me, but he has a day job and he's got to do that job too. So it's a lot of work for everybody. But special thank you to Skyla, the staff, my wife for the travel, and all the people that are involved. John Stewart, the guy who puts on these events for us, everybody who was at the Indy 500. We're so thankful for you. Good luck this weekend. Arenas VK, Ed Carpenter Racing, Connor Daly, and the entire team. Hey, special shout out to Nikki Daly, who won her first race as an e-scooter driver in the European circuit. Nikki, we're proud of you. Congratulations. Nikki, we love you. You know that. Everybody, I don't know that I got to everybody. I am super proud of the company. I could go on all day about how well everyone was behaved and how well it all came together. We're truly building a holding company. We got a lot going on with Bitcoin. Everybody stay tuned. This is Risk On, episode 228. I know it's a little different from format. Jason, I hope you get better. Christy and all the people out there, Joe's wife, all the people out there that maybe are a little under the weather, we're rooting for you to get a little bit better here. Hopefully this COVID thing stays under control and everyone feels a little better. Everybody, those people who participated in the preferred, thank you for that. The preferred will be listed next week. We're grateful for that. Everybody, Risk On. This is June 3rd. We're in Detroit. Everybody take care and Risk On, everybody. Be well.